Hello there, my name is Chesley, Chesley, and I am Karen Clymer, and we are Wholesome Communication, and we are here to tell you a Bible story today, and it's going to be about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. What's he going to bed for? He didn't say he was going to bed. I thought they said his name was dead to go. No, he wasn't going to bed. Anyway, Chesley, our Bible story today is going to be about the time they had a real trial of their faith. Welcome all of you. Glad you're with us. Shake hands around a time or two. Welcome to you. Okay, now you got your song in. But our story is taken from Daniel chapter 3. And there was a king named Nebuchadnezzar, and he thought he was really something come. He thought he was really special. Oh, he did. He thought that he was just the greatest. He was so proud and arrogant, and he had a giant statue made of solid gold. Oh, well, how much money was it? I don't know how much money it was worth, but it was huge, 125 feet tall. One man judged it to be, and 12.5 feet wide, and it was out on a plain there, just level ground, so it just showed up. I mean, I think something. What if it was gold and the sun was shining, it'd knock your eyes out? Well, it probably would about knock your eyes out. So people probably had to shield their eyes. They had some good shades on. Well, I don't know if they had shades, but they were shading their eyes with their hands. But that's beside the point. The king had decided that this is what people should worship. Oh, thou shalt have no other gods before you. That's what God's word said. Thou shalt have no other gods before you. He is the one true God. But these fellows are going to have a test, because here's what the king said. I want letters sent out to everyone. Now, he wanted all the spokespeople. He wanted the runners to go out and send the messages and go to various of the leaders and invite them to come and worship that thing. That's what he said. He said, you're going to come, you're going to worship this. It's going to be the dedication for this huge statue here. I mean, it showed for miles and miles away. I tell you, I wish I could have seen it. Well, I don't know if I want to see it or not. I can just like to imagine it. But anyhow, as so the messengers went out sending the message, and so here was the proclamation went out, and people was to be there at a certain day and a certain time. What's going to happen if you don't come, if you don't worship? Well, what it said in there was that there was going to be music was going to be played. Oh, I like music. Well, good music is good, but this music was when you heard the sound of the harp and the dulcimer and all these other different instruments, said everybody is to fall down and worship. Oh no, you can't do that. Worship that thing. Yes, worship that golden image. That's what everybody is to do. Well, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they got the message. And so what are they going to do? They're going to have a conference? They didn't have a conference. They just knew they were going to live for the Lord. And where's Daniel? Well, the Bible doesn't mention Daniel. We do know he was always faithful. So I think he perhaps was off on king's business somewhere, because he was one of the main men that the king had chosen. He was above the others, the other leaders. So that's what I think. He was possibly gone, because it was after this, he was thrown into the lion's den. We told that story last week. And so here goes Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. What they going to do? Well, the time comes, the day comes, the hour comes, and so here goes the music begins to play. People begin to fall down, and they started worshiping. They started worshiping that image, but not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They just stood there. And you know what? They had sheriffs there. They had people that was watching. Was anybody not bowing down? I wish they just closed their eyes. They didn't close their eyes. They had their eyes wide open. They were going to report. And they went running to the king. You know what? They were just tattletales. Well, you might have thought they were tattletales, but they were doing their job. And so they went to the king and said, those 3 Hebrew boys that you think are such great leaders, well, you know what? They're just doing rebels. That's what said. They're rebellious. They're not bowing down. They did not worship at all. I think that's just wicked. Why would they worship? No, they're not going to worship that. They're going to worship the Lord. They told the king commanded they be brought in and said, now, fellas, when you hear the sound, when you hear of all that music, unless it's an emergency, you need to be calling out and worshiping that image. That's what you're supposed to do. In what did they say? Oh, well, they said, King, we won't do that. We worship the one true God. And then what he said, well, you know what? He said, if you do not bow down and worship this image, He said, you're going to be cast into the burning fiery furnace. Didn't you read the proclamation? That's what's going to happen. What did they say? They changed their mind? No. They said, well, King, we read the proclamation. We know about that. But we're going to serve the one true God. And said, even if he doesn't choose to deliver us, we're still going to be faithful to him. You know what the old king said that God couldn't help them? He said, who is that God that can deliver you from this burning fiery furnace? Wow, it was awful. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said they wouldn't bow down, what did he do then? He got mad and he took and he threw it in the fire. What he did, he was so enraged. He said, I'll tell you what, that furnace is not going to be like it is now. It's going to be hotter. Oh, I think it is wicked. He sounds like he's a wicked beast. He was like a beast. I mean, he just was so angry, and he was so full of himself and how great and powerful he thought he was. But by doing this, he was going to get to see how great God was. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego just stood firm and said, we'll still be faithful to God. And so the king commanded, they would just tie them up, and he said, just throw them in that fire. And he wanted the biggest, strongest, meanest guys there was, and he dumped them in the fire. They threw them into the fire. But you know what, Jessie? The Bible said the fire was so hot, it actually just burned them up. It just melted them. It may have been so hot it about melted them. Anyway, they were dead. And the king was probably sneering and saying, look how great he was. He showed his power. And then what's happening? Something, he was looking in that fire. He was looking in that fire, and I believe his eyes got really big. Like big as saucers. I don't know if it's big as saucers, but he said, how many did we throw in that fire? You mean he can't count? Yes, Chesley, he could count. But he said, how many? I thought we just threw 3 in the fire. And some of the people probably said to him, his leaders probably said, yes, sir. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, he said, but I see 4. How in the world can anybody be walking in this fire? Not only there's 3, but I see 4, and he looks like the Son of God. I tell you something. God was greater than the fire. God was greater than the fire. But you know what it showed to this king? Oh, all of a sudden he realized, I am nothing. I am nothing compared to the great true God that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego serve. So what did he do? He changed his mind. He changed his mind. He said, I tell you what, nobody is to worship an idol. Oh, these fellas, they know what is right, and they've done what is right. Chesley, sometimes we have to take a stand when it's not easy. Can it cost you your job? Some people have lost jobs for being faithful. Some people have been promoted for being faithful. It depends on the person's time if they want to humble their heart and yield to the Lord. But the one thing is we need to know we need to honor the Lord and be faithful. And one day you're going to live with him. And one day we'll live with him. We're just here passing through for a while. We live a while and then we die. We can go live with the Lord or we can go live with the devil. I want to go live with the Lord. When we're Christians, we can live with the Lord forever. So this is what these fellows chose. That honorable thing was to honor God and be faithful, and he was faithful to them. And what did he hand to Satan? Well, they knew that if the Lord chooses to take us now, we're just going to go live with him. So either way, they said we're going to win either way. Oh my, I like this story. It's a good ending. It's a good story with a good ending. And right now we have to have a good ending here for us to end this story. I don't want to go to the end. I saw that termite. No, you didn't see the termite. He's not in there. I checked your bed. And did you send the pest control? Yeah, I'm the pest control. There's nothing in the trunk. Tell everybody goodbye, and you'll see them next Sunday. Goodbye, everybody. Good day, honestly, the girls. Oh, no, not just the girls, but everybody. Next week, that will be March 17th, 2019. Good day.